Welcome to Virtual Antics, your go-to podcast for digital entrepreneurs, powered by Nandora.org and NG Virtual Assistant. We're here to guide you through every aspect of business, from networking to lead generation and so much more. Get ready to thrive in the virtual world with expert insights and our all-in-one solution, Nandora, where creating a digital business becomes a breeze. Let's dive in and revolutionize your business journey together. Welcome back to the Virtual Antics Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Natalie Guzman. And today I have the fantastic Lynita Mitchell Blackwell with me. She is the intuitive business coach. She leads her clients to live life on fire for the ultimate successful life with peace, joy, and fulfillment. Welcome, Lynita. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Natalie. I am really excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. And I love that you fill your clients with peace, joy, and fulfillment. I know I need a little bit more of that in my life. So tell me how you got started doing this.
Absolutely. So I am a practicing attorney, and I have had a wonderful life. I make sure to tell people that, because what I say next is going to be like, didn't you have anybody around you who cared about you and said something? Yes, I had plenty. But because most of your listeners are 6 and 7 figure earners, I think that they'll be able to really understand where we're coming from, okay? So we were all given the same checklist, Natalie. If you work hard, you will make money, you will be successful, and you will live happily ever after. And so it worked for me. I worked hard in high school, got a scholarship to college, did well there, got a great job out of school, went back to law school because I did not like being an accountant. I'm just not a bean counter, right? That's not my personality. Founded my firm, was doing really well. And I really loved when people were like, oh my gosh, you're just so great. Love having you on my team. Look at all you've accomplished. And I had accomplishments down one arm and up the other, right? But I was not taking care of myself. I was working through the night for multiple nights at a time, and I was not eating well. And I just said yes to everything because I was like, this is what I said I wanted. I wanted to be included. I wanted to have nice things. I wanted to be successful. But my hair started breaking off, and so I started wearing wigs. And then my skin started to deteriorate. And Natalie, all I did was learn how to do my face like these Instagram models. And so I was covering up a whole lot of things. But the one thing I could not cover up was when my daughter found me passed out in the middle of the floor from exhaustion. She was 6 years old. And I am so grateful that she did not have the presence of mind to know that something was wrong with mommy. She just thought mommy was tired. And so she put a blanket over my body and put a pillow under my head and said, good night, mama. And all I had strength to do was say, good night, baby. And that was the moment I knew something had to change. And so it took a couple of years to get to exactly what. And I started working with a performance coach. And the first thing I had to do was to de-escalate what had become my life. I had way too much going on. I had 7 pages of roles and responsibilities. And for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, I don't know how that happened. Most of you do too. It's just that you, just like me, lumped one responsibility, but it's really 12. Like if any of you are running your own business, then you are your CEO, COO, CFO, the chief marketing officer as well. You are human resources, you're legal, and then you have to go out and network because you are primarily responsible for your business, right? I've already named 7 things, and we haven't even gotten down to the day-to-day things that you do. The second thing that I did is I said, I have to redefine what success really means, because up to that point, I was like, it's stuff, money, cars, clothes, accolades, right? And it can't be that, because if it was, then I would have been happy. But happy is temporary. It is transitional. And from that perspective, it's also transactional. And so what we're really looking for, which led me to number 3, was joy. I wanted something that was sustainable, that no matter what was going on, I had something to tap into that would fuel me. And when I got to that point, life changed. And I got my health back together, and my business actually did even better. And people were like, what are you doing? And so I told them, and they were like, I need some of them. And so I didn't start off with the thought of being the intuitive business coach. I started off with trying to get me together. And so that's how this all happened.
Yeah. Wow. That is a crazy story. Because at first, when you said that you were, a lawyer, and I was like, words like peace, joy, and fulfillment, I don't know if those have ever been associated with a lawyer.
I wish I could be offended, Natalie, but that is the truth.
Yeah, we're a law enforcement family. And so we see it, my husband is an assistant warden of a prison. You don't look at him and think peace, joy, happiness, because the things you see, the things you deal with, all the rules you have to follow. I think both those careers are you have guidelines you have to follow to a T, or a lot of bad things can happen and there's serious consequences, and that's stressful. And then you're trying to keep up with all the work and all the rules and make everyone happy. It sounds like you're a little bit like me. I was a people pleaser. I'm a former people pleaser, as I like to say. So I wanted to say yes to everything and just make everyone in my life happy, because that's why I thought brought me joy and brought me fulfillment. But I think it really just brought me maybe a little bit, like you said, happiness, but it's transactional, right? And so
yes,
you start putting all those things on your plate and you're stressed out to the max. I think one of the best things I ever did was hiring my team. Because then, like you said, you had like the marketing specialist and all these different roles. And as I continued to fill them, I now only work like 10 hours a week, maybe. And I have 2 businesses. And so, but that's because I've invested in my team. I've trained my team. I pay them. So sometimes especially in the beginning, I got less of a paycheck because I was using them, but I had to be there for my family. Yeah. So what are some ways that you were able to find this joy and fulfillment, especially with the job that's so stressful as you have?
Absolutely. So I've actually developed a framework. And so the first thing that I had to do is I had to start focusing on people and not process. Because like you were talking about, especially with high stress jobs, and a lot of times high stress is also high paying, but not always, right? I was very focused on checking off boxes, right? And I was less focused on the person that was sitting across from me. But every person that we encounter, there's a reason that we're having this experience. And it might manifest in that moment and it might come later. But there has not been a person that I've ever done business with, had a genuine conversation with, where something did not come from it that was for my good, right? And I know that sounds very woo-woo, but think of it in terms of your business, right? You're going to these conferences, you're going to these networking functions, and you're meeting wonderful people, and you might have this incredible connection with this one person, right? And right that moment, maybe there's nothing to be done because maybe your businesses are not aligned, right? But then maybe a year or 2 later, that conversation comes up and you're just like, this is exactly what I need right now. Or there's an opportunity to refer that person, or they're referring you. But if you cannot focus in the here and now to even have that genuine exchange, then what a wasted time. And I had to get there. And most of us do, because we're focused on next. We spend so much time, Natalie, focused on what happens next. But if now is not taken care of, next can't come. Not won't, it can't. Because what needed to happen right here, right now, never did. So that was the first thing that I had to do, was really focus on the only thing that matters right now is Natalie, because that's where I am.
Yeah, that's so true about being present in the moment, right?
Yes.
I discovered that. So I feel like my biggest example with being present in the moment is lead generation, right? We are so focused on how to get the next client, and we find a way. We have people coming in, but we are not being present in the moment with those people that come in. So they go right out our funnel, and you're like, where are all these leads going? Why is my conversion? My emails are great. My automations are great. If you're not being present in the moment and like really focusing on them, building a genuine relationship, it's you're wasting all that time and money you spent just bring them into your funnel, and then they're going out because you don't care about them. You just care that they're a number to you. Like, how many numbers can come in, how many numbers can go out. And I think at the end of the day, we're all interacting with humans, and we're humans, and we need to take that time to be present and respect the people that come into our workspace too, right? So if they're interested in you, don't be like, oh, dollar signs. Be like, can I actually help this person? I had a virtual assistant agency, right, on the podcast a couple weeks ago, I believe. And she was absolutely amazing. And she was like, why would you have me on your podcast if you have a virtual assistant agency? And I'm like, because I'm not the only agency out there for other people. If, I was more like experienced entrepreneurs, and she was more people who've never had a virtual assistant ever. And so they're very two different models. And I was like, people need to have this in their lives. They need to know about this person. I might not be the best fit. And I actually referred a couple clients to her because we weren't the perfect fit, because also, like you said before, you were saying yes to everything. I was saying yes to every client that came my way. And so that left me actually making like money mistakes. It left me with employees that were very, not treated well by our clients. And so my team was stressed and their energy was bad. And I hire majority is stay-at-home moms. Yeah. And so I don't want to add more stress onto their plate than they already have. And so that was like huge thing for us. And so I think like you said, just making sure you're present and you're focusing on what's in front of you. Don't have 100 tabs open on your computer.
Yes, for anybody just listening, I am clapping because Natalie is, boy, she's bringing it. Yeah. Keep it coming, sister. Keep it coming. Yes.
Close those tabs right now. I dare you. And it's amazing what it does for your productivity. I think I read a productivity blog that said something about that. So I tried it one day and I did amazing work. I wasn't distracted because a lot of times you'll look at the tabs and you'll be like, oh, I got to do that for that, or I got to do this for this. That's why it's still open. But if you just close those tabs, and it will come back in your brain, you will reopen those tabs, but it's not the time or place for it. So I think that's amazing. And that you help people, realize this, but also you help them actually create actionable steps as well, correct?
That's exactly right. And, when you were talking about closing the tabs and trusting yourself to remember to come back to it, let's say that you didn't. Let's say that you didn't remember. Guess what? Then there will be some reminder. There will be something to bring it back to you, whether it's a person saying, hey, did you forget about me? Or something on your phone. You've got to trust that everything at this point in your life really is working for your good. Everybody listening to this show, the hard work is behind you. You have done the hard stuff. It is now time to reap the benefits of what you have put in for. Excuse me. And I know, and this actually leads to number 2 of the framework, right? And that's leave it all on the field. Natalie, we spend so much time looking backwards and replaying our mistakes over and over again to the point where we take that past stuff and then forecast it onto future stuff. And we don't give the future a chance to just show up in the way that it was meant to. When we keep dragging the old stuff, it's not to help us make us better. It actually is serving as a sabotage of everything that we have done. It's a saboteur, right? And we've worked too hard for that. We cannot have that. And so the way to do that is to forgive. You're forgiving yourself. You're forgiving the situation. You're forgiving the people who had something to do with that thing. You're taking all the lessons and the blessings and you're leaving the mess behind. You've got to do that for you. And those tabs, they may not seem like they're saboteurs, but they are, because they are, once again, distracting from the present moment of now.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. What do you see that some of the things that maybe your clients struggle with the most?
Yeah, so the most is unstretching themselves thin. Just like me and just like you, because you said that you're a reformed people pleaser too. They have way too much on their lap, on their tab. They have too many things going on. And it's hard. I know. We get to a place where we determine what comes on and what comes off by saying, well, that doesn't make me happy. That's negative, right? And so the things that we have left are positive things. We love the mission, the vision, the values. There are friends, there are co-workers, there are employees. There are things that we care about, There are causes that we care about. But we have too many of them going on. As a person who was serving as president of 3 professional organizations at one time, I know what I'm saying. So we have to create a different framework, a different rubric on how to determine what has to go. And so what I did, and I teach my clients to do this, is we have to look at what is consistent and going to move us forward with our mission, vision, values, purpose now. Because that changes as we go through life, as our businesses grow, as our family dynamics change. Because what was major when my daughter was 6 and found me on the floor, it has shifted dramatically now that she's 16 and getting ready to go to college, right? So I've had to shift my businesses, my priorities to accomplish being fully present and the type of mom that she's going to need right now. Because, she can do everything for herself right now except drive because, she's 16. But when she was small, I was carpool, food, everything,
I have
right?
a 6 and a 7-year-old. You're
And
speaking.
yeah. So you know exactly what I'm saying. And for me, my mission, my vision, my goals, my values, my purpose, my priorities, they are very family centric, and they always have been. And so as she has gotten older and become more independent, then that's more time that I can shift onto me. But to even get there have to be things that come off of the plate. There have to be people who are empowered, like you have, right, in your businesses, to go and run and don't have to come to me for everything. But that requires trust of self and the people that we have around us. I get that. But you've got to take this first step. And so that's what I help my clients do. I help them take the first step, and I have my hand on their back and their shoulder. I'm like, you got this. We can do this together, because I was that person and I had to have help too.
Yeah, it's the accountability portion, right? You need accountability.
Absolutely.
Like in everything. I feel like in every, pillar aspect of your life, you should have either some sort of mentor or friend, someone that you go to talk about that. And it's not, I don't think it should ever be the same person because everyone's kind of knowledgeable or really good at giving advice for kind of one thing or a couple things. But I know, so you got marriage, you got family, you have business. And it's just like to have that extra support, that person that is like, hey, you said you were going to do this. Did you do it? is huge because you really do the work in, even if it's 5 hours or 5 minutes before you meet with that person, just to get it done. So that way you can tell them it was done. But accountability is a huge portion. So I'm always advocating and saying, you guys, you need a coach, you need someone to help you. If this is something you're struggling with, then you need a mentor, you need a coach, and it's never going to hurt anything. It's only going to improve.
Absolutely.
Well, how can we find more about you, your services, and what you offer?
Absolutely. So my website is the best place to find me. It's my name, Lynita Mitchell Blackwell.com, LYNITA. And you can get on my email list. I promise I won't make you feel like just a number. I will nurture you, right? We can connect via social. It's my name on everything. And you can check out my blogs and we can get in contact with one another whenever I'm in a town near you.
Amazing. I'll make sure I link those in the show notes as well. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Lynita. It's been so amazing talking with you, and you brought so much value today.
Thank you so much, Natalie. And I enjoyed learning from you as well.
Thank you. All right. Well, we will talk to you guys next time on the Virtual Antics Podcast.